Well, when we started, we had to come up with a logo very quickly. We had to come up with a name. So when things go that fast, you do what you can with what you have.
Yep.
And then it was okay until we really started looking at it and saying, wow, this looks dated.
It's kind of like if your hairdresser has a really crappy hairstyle or color job, you're probably not going to want to use her to cut your own hair, right? And it's the same thing with this. You're right. Like if you have a really boring brand or a boring logo, or if it doesn't look great, or if it doesn't stand for what you are, how are you going to convince other businesses to use you as a business?
Yeah. The other thing that we talk about internally is that, we do have some competitors that are challenged that we say, but we also say that, they won't be challenged for long because they're going to figure it out. So we always have to be ahead of them.
Yes.
And that's what we're marketing to our customers is, and I say that other people should be doing the same thing, is that you're the company looking at the future. So you're the one who your company should be dealing with us because we're always looking at the future and what we should do to help you as the market changes.
Welcome to the Lasting Business Solutions Podcast, Indy's launchpad to sustained business success, growth, and leadership. My name's Renee Lucas. I am your host, and I am so excited to be here today with Brian Miller, who's the owner of Standout Wraps, and who actually does all the wraps for our business, LCS Heating and Cooling. Brian, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into too much, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Brian. Brian has over 20 years of experience in the print graphics industry. He's known for delivering top quality work and fast turnaround times, and I can attest to that. His work has earned him a Marketing Self-Promotion Gold Award from the Promotional Products Association International, and he shared his expertise teaching management for graphics production. Brian has led some major plant turnarounds, developed quality programs for what's now BIC Graphics, we've all heard of that, and built two successful product advertising companies. Today, Brian owns and operates a commercial vehicle graphics business, Standout Wraps, combining creativity and precision to help brands stand out on the road. With a background in mechanical engineering from Penn State, he brings both technical skill and creative vision to every project he takes on. Brian, welcome again.
Thank you.
Last week, we had Emily Flanagan from Lemon Seed Marketing here, and she was talking about the importance of a brand and telling the story, and you really bring it to life in the graphics for what you've done for our business between our vehicles, our conference room, and how it looks and carries our brand. You do amazing top quality work, just like you said. So
thank you.
Thank you. Big shout out to you here real quick. And you and I have been talking a little bit about a little bit of a refresh that you're going through with your company, really trying to hone in on your target audience and all of those things, right? So let's talk a little bit about how did you know it was time to do a little bit of a refresh in your own business?
Well, when we started, we had to come up with a logo very quickly. We had to come up with a name. So when things go that fast, you do what you can with what you have.
Yep.
And then it was okay until we really started looking at it and saying, wow, this looks dated. This doesn't look like what we want to be presenting, especially when we're looking at branding other companies and it's displaying what the attributes that they should be. So we really looked at what we had as far as branding and knew that we had to do a refresh.
Oh my God. You know what? You've said so many great things there. It's kind of like if your hairdresser has a really crappy hairstyle or color job, you're probably not going to want to use her to cut your own hair, right? And it's the same thing with this. You're right. Like if you have a really boring brand or a boring logo, or if it doesn't look great, or if it doesn't stand for what you are, how are you going to convince other businesses to use you as a business?
That's right. I mean, so we have to make sure that our branding is top notch. We can't fall. And we also have to tell other customers they can't either. It has to be very clear, from your brand, what you do and giving the sense that, you're professional and that, you're put together and that you have your act together. All of your materials need to kind of come together in one place.
So what has that process looked like for you? Because it's a big project when we're talking about whether it's a full rebrand or whether it is doing a refresh in there, or maybe it's even kind of honing in on our target audience and what will speak to them, right? Do I think that this is going to speak to them and help us to connect? What's that process looked like for you?
Well, that process was looking at everything, our website especially, because a lot of people go to our website. So looking at how it flowed, did it have the messaging that we wanted? And we did some major rework on that, just to make sure our images were clean, that it flowed, that we looked very professional.
Yeah.
And that people got a sense that they should come with us because we have our act together. That was the biggest.
You know, what's interesting is a service that you provide that I actually didn't know about until we were kind of talking about your refresh a little bit was if you are working with a business and they're having a vehicle wrapped, you'll pick up the vehicle for them. Right? Yeah, you'll pick up the vehicle for them, take it to get it done. And I know we've used that service with our business and it saves us so much time. And what's become is I don't check with you and say, hey, how much is this wrap going to be? Because I know from our relationship, I'm confident in the consistency of the pricing that I get, right? So what I care about is, oh my gosh, Brian could be here at 9 a.m. to get this van. He could have it back to me by this date. We could be back on the road because every time a van is off the road, we're losing this much in revenue and potential, right? And so when you get to the point where you're connecting with other businesses in that way, it's a game changer. But if you don't have a way that you're telling that story and sharing with people that that's a service that you provide, you're just kind of like everybody else.
Correct.
Yeah. So how are you getting that message out there?
Well, we're doing a series of mailer cards that we're sending out to not only our customers, but potential customers to let them know the services. And we're doing a series of them. We're going to be doing 8 here starting in March.
Okay.
So every 2 weeks, we'll drop a card.
Yep.
So that we keep our name in front of our customers and potential customers and the different services that we have. We're trying to be short, sweet, and to the point, and something that resonates. Because we knew that the pain point was for companies to be able to, get the vehicles to us. And we knew that that was a problem. And we thought, hey, we have a solution for that where we can pick that up and just make that part of our growth plan and actually not charge for it, because that allows us to expand our territory without opening up another physical location. So we can just bring them in.
I love it. And so when you're doing that, so taking that particular service, if you're picking up a vehicle from my place,
correct.
Are you leaving your wrapped vehicle at my place?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So that is a great advertising tactic on your end, because then everybody that passes my place of business, which is a new location for you, technically, right, is seeing your branding and your name. And obviously you're here working with us doing something.
Correct.
Right? That's genius. I love that. So for other business owners, I would encourage you to think about what's a service that you could provide that would set you apart from your competitors and also benefit you in some sort of way like this is. I think it's genius.
Right. Well, and it also goes back to our mission statement to helping our customers grow their business. And part of that helping them grow their businesses, if they don't have to worry about all these other things, they can be working on their business.
Yeah.
So that was part of, our looking at our mission and doing something to help fulfill that. And we continue to look at that. What else can we do to help them grow their business?
I love that. Something that was a big pain point for us for a very long time was if we were getting a vehicle wrapped and we had, say, an old wrap on it, and then we did our rebrand, we were like using a hairdryer to take the old wrap off. And we were paying somebody to do that, intern, like a technician. We were taking them off of a job, or they were staying late, which resulted in overtime sometime. Right. And nobody liked doing that. I mean, we had a little hairdryer that we were trying to do that, and it was tedious, right? That is something we don't have to worry about now. Like, we can take it, hey, we're going to pick this up from you. We're going to have all of this taken care of. It's going to be washed. It's going to be clean. We're going to get it back to you. Now, ideally, you're hoping we don't bring it to you covered in mud, right? But I mean, for the most part, I don't have a lot of rules and guidelines on like, hey, I'm going to do this for you, but the van needs to be this, and this before you even bring it. Like, that's a hardship for us.
Right, and that's why we even have our own washing bay stations, so that we don't even ask customers, because that used to be, and our competitors all, you must bring it clean or we're going to
Yes.
charge you $300.
Yes.
And we just say, just bring your vehicle, drop it whenever you can. We have secure locations, so you don't have to worry with tools or anything else. We have cameras, we have live agents watching all the time, so we don't have issues there, and we can just take care of it so you can operate your business.
Oh my God. I tell you, it's been, those services that you provide have been a game changer for us. And so I love that you are marketing those and you think about refreshing and who's my target audience and who do I want to get in front of? Because just like, we've worked with some really bad companies who've done wraps and things like that. But on the flip side, I'm sure you've had some really bad clients that, you know what I mean? That's the way the world rolls sometimes. And so when you have that relationship and that partnership and there's that trust back and forth, my gosh, it's a game changer for both of us.
Yeah. The other thing that we talk about internally is that, we do have some competitors that are challenged that we say, but we also say that, they won't be challenged for long because they're going to figure it out. So we always have to be ahead of them.
Yes.
And that's what we're marketing to our
Yeah.
customers is, and I say that other people should be doing the same thing, is that you're the company looking at the future. So you're the one who your company should be dealing with us because we're always, looking at the future
Right.
and what we should do to help you as the market changes.
I love that. I know I personally don't want to work with a company who I feel like is stagnant. You know what I mean? Or not healthy, not a healthy business. That's another problem. Like, I don't want to call you and you're out of business one day because you weren't a healthy business, right? And so that's really, really important and to keep in mind who you're looking for. You're not going to get everybody out there that needs a vehicle wrapped, right? And you're not going to be everybody's answer to everything, but for your demographic and the target person that you're looking for, how can you be that for them every single time?
Right.
Yeah, I love it. So you mentioned talking a little bit internally about your team. I want to transition a little bit. Sometimes as business owners, we recognize that our team needs a little refresh, right? And sometimes that can be the actual people on our team. But more often than not, we just need a little like morale boost. We need a little refresher, and we're coming out of the dark gray skies of Indiana winter, right? And so sometimes morale's just a little down. What do you do as a business owner to kind of refresh your team?
Well, what we've looked at and we're doing right now is we've making games for them to play as far as drills.
Okay.
So we do challenges against team members on certain install parts and or to beat your own score.
Okay. So give me an example of one of those games.
Okay, so we have our own training area where we actually have car parts set up on rolling carts.
Okay.
Where they'll do, let's say, a hood. So the game is, can you do a hood? And everything starts with quality. You have to be at 90% or above.
Okay.
So if you're not, it doesn't count. So it's, how can you lay that hood, finish that hood to 90%, and in what time frame? And we have poker chips that we've made up for these games. So there's different challenges with different poker chips from $10 to $25. So we're doing that to help kind of boost morale, and because things do get a little slow,
Sure.
a little bit boring,
Yes.
especially when it's heavy winter and we're not getting vehicles in as heavy as we do, and people are mopping floors, and you can only do that for so long.
I know. It gets monotonous. It does.
Yes. Yeah. So we're coming up with games, activities to do, and drills and training.
I love that. And a little competitive edge is always fun. And then when you have something on it that's like a point system that cashes into something, or a dollar amount that cashes into something, that's a huge motivator. Do you do things like that all year long, or do you kind of focus it on what you would consider maybe a slower time in your business where you need a little morale boost?
Well, we're looking at doing that all year round because we have to be training all year round. So we're looking at having those programs already built so that when those slow times, the ebbs come,
Yeah. Ebb and flows.
When those ebbs come, we can take advantage of those and quickly pivot so that we keep everybody, sharp and on their game. Because if you don't, they lose their edge, and when it does get busy and the flows come, they're not ready.
Right.
And
that's a good point.
They fall down.
Brian, I think that's so genius to put together a game that's competitive and it's fun, right? And it's challenging, but that also teaches the operational processes that are in our business. And so we have the same thing. Like one of the parts of our LCS way, which makes us different, is streamlined processes, right? Because the more streamlined we are, the more convenient it is for the homeowner. Our technician gets home at a great time to have time with their family, and it's more profitable for the business, right? And so when we have those things in place where we're teaching people in different ways, it's a win-win for everybody, right? Do you have, outside of games, do you have anything to prevent burnout? Let's kind of go on the opposite side of this. So we're thinking about, okay, it sounds to me like you were saying when the weather gets a little bit nicer, pick up, more vehicles are coming in, there's more activity, we're busy. Do you have anything that you do to keep morale up when it's busy and people might get burned out?
We have different programs. We have every 2 weeks, we do our show with Pizza Day.
Nice.
We actually watch Chef Ramsay.
Yeah.
And
do you really?
Yes, we do.
That's fun. Okay.
Yes, we do.
While you're having pizza?
While we're having pizza. And we talk a little bit about, a lot of their challenges on the show is that the consistency. They can do a great meal one day and they're not consistent the next day. Mm-hmm. So we use that as kind of the background for our training program, that we have to be consistent. You can be great on Monday, but you have to be great on Tuesday too.
I'm going to steal that, just so you know. We are going to have a pizza day with Chef Ramsay. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's very creative.
Yeah.
Where do you get some of your ideas to keep things fresh for your team?
Just reaching back from the past where we had, everything was a competitive game.
Yeah.
And we've had our most success with some of the even large organizations where we've created these incentive programs that make it more engaging, so that when employees come to work, it's not just the same old thing.
Right.
It's like we're playing for today, and it's feedback daily.
Okay.
So it's important that everybody has feedback. Otherwise, that they don't know, or they lose focus.
They lose focus, and they also they think they might be doing really great at something and then they're not, right?
Correct.
Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they think that they're really struggling with something and you say, man, I think you're killing it out here. Let's keep up with that. And they really just need a boost in confidence, right? I love those ideas of how you make it fun.
Right.
So let's talk about, from a business standpoint, we're coming to the end of first quarter. And so if we had a rough first quarter, how do you pivot? How do you refresh what you're doing? How do you change your mindset to set you up for the rest of the year? I know business owners all the time say they're halfway through a month and it's been a slow start to the month. They just give up on it and start looking ahead at, next month will be better, right? Whereas I'm like, it's the 20th of the month. We've got 2 more weeks to kill it. What are we going to do to meet our goals, right? So what do you do to pivot if you are seeing that you're having a quarter or a month or a week or whatever that you're really struggling?
Well, we do what we can. One of the things that we've done is reach out to some of our customers that we know are holding back because their business is slow in the first quarter. So to pick things up, we've done extended terms with people that we know have terms that we can basically say, well, we'll get the business in, and that way we're not overloaded, come April.
Right.
So we try to pull them in February and before by offering 90-day terms.
Yeah.
On the invoices.
You know what? And you've actually called us before and said, hey, do you guys, we have a couple openings. Do you guys have any vehicles that need done? And we've been like, actually, we do. And so it works out for both of us, right? Business owners get really busy, and sometimes, as you know, and sometimes we push things off because it's like, hey, is it super critical if I don't get that van wrap today? No, I'm going to push it off to next week. Well, it actually is super critical because that is a rolling billboard for us, right? And so making it critical. And then when we just happen to have those random phone calls and it's like, hey guys, I have an opening. Got anything? Yeah, it works out for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Who in your office does that? Is that something that you are going after? Do you have multiple people in the office that will kind of follow up with some of your clients or reach out and try to fill that calendar?
Yeah, luckily I have a very good administrator, office administrator, who has radar for that.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
senses that, I can call these people and those people. And she gets upset if she doesn't see the schedule full.
Yeah, good. That's amazing, because what we forget about sometimes, and it's true for so many industries, not just ours, but if that schedule is not full, then there are people who are not working, right? And then they don't have a paycheck and they can't pay their bills.
Right.
And it is a really ugly cycle that we don't want to happen.
Right.
I think when something to say for your administrator that's a huge kudos is to have those relationships already built so that she feels comfortable and knows, hey, I know I could reach out to these people, or I know I could reach out to these businesses and just ask. Right. I think that is a testament to how strong your relationships are and how valuable that is to your business too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you can think of that would be a great tip for another business owner on a way to refresh or, really like lighten up and lift, especially if you've got, a business owner that's listening that maybe they're in a tough place right now. Maybe they're feeling a little burnout. Maybe they're having a really rough time financially. There's a number of things. Maybe they've had some high turnover in their business. Do you have any tips for a business owner like that to kind of get the motivation to refresh?
Well, there's a couple things you can do. A few of them we've already gone over, which is what we've done is to have the, even the pizza day. We do that twice a month.
Yeah.
Just to kind of engage everybody, and they love it. They love free food.
Yeah, absolutely. Food speaks to everybody. It's a love language.
Yep. So we get some good pizza, and you can do it on. In fact, we go to Costco, and the whole thing is, those pizzas are huge, and they're like $10. So we do it very inexpensively.
Yeah.
We actually bought a pizza bag to go over and pick them up, and just if you come up with ideas like that, how can you do that on a low budget? Because it really costs us, I think we figured it out. It's like $5 of an employee, less than that, even with drinks and such.
Right.
So we can host them. They have a nice meal. They have fun. We watch a show. We talk about it, things like that. And then getting the area done. And employee feedback is the most critical thing to keep everybody engaged. Because when they don't get the feedback, they don't feel appreciated, and they just, you see things start to slow down.
Yeah, it starts to unravel a little bit. And that's what feeling appreciated and feeling like you're a part of something. Correct. I think there's something to be said. People like to be part of a group or a club or something, right? And so to be part of a team where you feel valued, oh my gosh, it's huge. I know as a business owner, when I'm collaborating with my team, we start, a lot of times we'll start with like, what's your word, right? So we'll come together with say there's 5 of us, and we come together to collaborate on something for the business. And if I'm just having kind of a down day, and say my word is frustrated, I'm just feeling a little frustrated today, right? 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, we will finish that collaboration and I will just be lifted. Like my mood is up, my drive is up. Like, people lift people. Right. And so working that in, even if you don't feel like it, or if you're really down or whatever, just making the effort to have the pizza party, have the collaboration, spend 10 minutes discussing a video that you watch or something. Like, it makes such a huge difference even for yourself as a business owner. Right. Yeah. How do you keep motivation for yourself? Like, when we're talking about, I keep going back to refresh because that's what I think about in March, right? But if you need a refresh for yourself, this is a little off topic, but if there's some sort of self-care tip or something as a business owner, not just for your team, but for yourself, how do you stay in the game?
The way I do it now, or what I've started this year, is just writing some goals down for myself. Okay. And I keep looking at those and say, relax, don't get frustrated. Look at the goals, look at the long term. Yep. You've got great people. You start looking at what you have that you can make work. And instead of what you don't have, which is so easy to focus on, right? It is. I love that. Let's say that again. What we have and how we can make that work, right? I really like that. Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, that's fine. Yeah. Brian, we have had so many great tips in here, but I want to ask you more of a personal question a little bit. So in your bio, it discussed a little bit about your past experience and
other companies that you have ran and been involved in and different things like that, what do you feel like has been one of your most successful lessons learned, or maybe a lesson that's had the most impact, or has been something's been really successful in your business now?
Sure, I would love to go over that. So what has been most successful was a program that I didn't even understand how impactful it was until probably 20 years later, where we did what we thought was just a bonus program where people were chasing money. But it was much more than that. The way we ran it, it became a game. And what it did is it engaged all the employees. So they came in energized. They wanted to see where the company was, where the orders were, where they were, and they had feedback on a daily basis. And it created one of the most profitable units within 17 units from a $500 million company. And they came to study us. And in fact, I went to work on trying to train for that, but it was, a lot of people didn't believe in it, but it truly did work wonders.
So is that something like when we're talking about a compensation plan like that, are you talking about like a full kind of piece rate program? Are you talking more of like an hourly plus a bonus?
It's hourly plus bonus.
Okay, so kind of a hybrid plan.
It's a hybrid plan. So that, and it has some components that, in fact, if you don't do something properly, you end up paying for it, but over time.
Okay.
So there is
some accountability.
It's accountability. It's totally accountable, but you can make good money. In fact, the way we ran it was, in order for you to maintain, you need to be earning at least baseline bonus. You have to get some bonus.
Otherwise, there's not really a seat for you at this table.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how we even reviewed people, because we didn't have to review them. They were reviewed almost constantly. So it was like, if they weren't doing it, it would be more like, why won't you let me give you this money? Instead of why won't you work? Why are you, slacking off? It's like, why won't you let me give you this money?
Oh my God. I love that. Here's the other thing too, when it comes to simpler, more basic compensation plans. When we're talking hourly only, at some point you're on cap out. First of all, there's no huge opportunity there, right? And secondly, I talk all the time with my team about mindset. Like, I can give you $1 an hour raise, right? But we're talking about $40 a week, $2,000 a year, right? When we really look at hybrid plans that bring in performance, and you're talking about a very high level quality of work, we're efficient with our time, we don't have callbacks, we're not spending the money of the business on multiple trips or fixing mistakes or things like that, that leaves a much bigger bucket for bonuses than $40 a week.
Right.
Right. And so we can be looking at, man, instead of a $2,000 difference in your salary, let's talk about a $20,000 difference in your salary. I mean, it's a really big difference.
Yes.
I love that. That's a great point. So one of those things to refresh, especially with your team, is look at your compensation plan.
Absolutely.
Right. And how can you make that a win-win-win? People often think, I think with piece rate, it's speed. As fast as you can get it done so I can make the most amount of money that you can. And it can fail for those reasons if it's not set up properly with the quality.
Oh, that you have to establish quality first.
Yes. I really like kind of like, hey, you have to be at this minimum of a bonus, or your quality level and probably efficiency level and everything is not, like, you have not earned a seat at the table. Right. If you don't have that. I'm going to steal that. Man, there's a lot of things that I'm taking back from this, Brian.
Right. No, if your quality levels aren't where they need to be, you can't participate in the bonus program.
Right.
So, and
that's what makes it a win-win for the homeowner, the team member, and the company.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been fantastic. If you have a question for Brian about any of these creative things that he does within his own business to keep his team morale, to keep his financials up where he wants them to be, and to keep that target audience in mind when he's branding himself in advertising, drop a comment in the link and we'll be sure to get that answered for you.
Sure.
So Brian, thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for joining in. I hope you got a ton out of that, and I will see you next time on the Lasting Business Solutions podcast.